Welcome to Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast with your host, Bruce Hutchin. This is episode number 040A.
Welcome to Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast, where it is all about whitetail deer hunting tips, techniques, and the stories so you can become a more successful whitetail deer hunter. And now your host, Bruce Hutchin.
Today we're talking with Brian Gibbs, who's a banker during the day, then hunter and videographer the rest of the time. His passion and dedication for the sport is second to none. He's a pro staffer for Relentless Addiction Outdoors and a field staff member of Be the Tree cover scents. He was introduced to hunting by his father at a young age. Pursuing a life of hunting and filming has always been a dream of his. Looking forward to finally getting a chance, mostly because my cameras are always with me and always rolling. To think my dream almost came to an end before I even started. At 10 years old, I fell out of a tree.
Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. This is your host, Bruce Hutchin. And we're going to head to Michigan and talk with a young man that's got a fire in the belly about whitetails. Brian Gibbs is a pro staffer with Relentless Addiction Outdoors, and he has a passion for not only hunting whitetails, but filming. And not just filming whitetails, but filming any critter that walks in the woods or swims in the pond. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bruce. It's a pleasure to be on.
Well, let's just jump right into it, and let's talk about who got you started in hunting. What's the hunting tradition at the Gibbs family?
Well, you know, I do come from a long line of hunters. Everybody in the family, well, all the men in the family at least, they all hunt. My father, of course, being a young boy, is my father that introduced me to the sport, you know, probably at an early age. I'm guessing 6, 7, and I started going out with him. And it was a great experience. I was able to witness him harvest many deer, bow, gun, you name it. You know, I got to watch him do it.
What are some of the lessons that your dad taught you that are with you today?
You know what? He just taught me, he definitely taught me the patience. And, you know, that's a little harder than you think when you're a kid. You know, being a child, you want to move around. You don't necessarily want to be quiet, you know, and especially if it's colder weather, you know, your toes are getting cold, your fingers are getting cold. So being patient and staying motionless was quite a challenge at that young of an age. But that's one of the very first things that he definitely taught me.
Now, you shared with me in the warm-up something happened at age 10. So I think let's just bring that up front and center because you were able to survive, and let's just talk about that.
Yeah, you know, this is back in 1984, and I was just 10 years old. You know, like I said, I've only been a few years into it. And in Michigan, I think you had to be 12 years old to bow hunt on your own. So at this time, I was still in that learning stage. Of course, you're in that learning stage for a long period of time throughout your whole life. But I was just at that stage where it was just really kicking into me, you know, and I was really starting to really enjoy it a lot. And back on this particular weekend, it was our early fall weekend. We were out at my grandparents'. They lived in a little city north of where I'm at here in Michigan, and they had a couple acres to themselves, and then they were surrounded by state land. So I had unlimited land to go on. And, you know, what the really cool thing about this story, even though it was almost fatal, my grandma had a black lab, and at 10 years old, any dog's your best friend. And this dog was truly one of my best friends. And we did everything together. Anytime I was out there, we went everywhere together. And this time I said, you know what, I'm going to leave him behind. I want to go out on my own, you know, prove myself that I can do this, apply what I've learned, you know, and come back with a story. And all I was doing was going out there looking for deer. But I went out into the state land and I climbed up this monster oak tree. It was one of those oak trees that looked like it was 500 years old, 8 feet around, no way to climb it with anything. And I had to actually climb up this smaller tree that was next to it and kind of monkey my way onto it. And, you know, the next thing I remember was I remember hearing them call me for dinner. And then it was a total blackout from there. What happened was I slipped and fell. I was probably up there about 20 feet. and I slipped and fell, and of course I lost consciousness. And story has it, even the doctor came out of the surgery room and said, you know what, I don't think he was going to make it through surgery, but when I did, it's like you're lucky that dog found him. It was a dog that found me, and he found me just in the nick of time. He said another couple minutes, I probably would not have made it. So it was a true heroic story from just a black lab. His name was Bojo.
Now, but Bojo wasn't with you, so what was he doing? Was he trailing you, or
he wasn't with me? Remember I was mentioning that.
Right.
Usually I take him everywhere, but this time I wanted to go look for deer, so I left him behind. And so when I didn't come to dinner, they realized something was wrong. They came out looking for me, but the actual dog that found me went back to get them and bring them to me.
You also, in your bio, said you wanted to thank God. So what does that mean to you?
Oh, that means everything, because that's the foundation for who I am and everything that we do, not only in the hunting industry but in life in general. He's my rock. He's definitely a person I lean on, and he's my go-to guy all the time.
Thank you for that. Let's jump right into today and what you're doing in the hunting industry. I know you're hunting, and we can share a couple stories about that, but your passion is filming the hunt or filming the outdoors. Let's talk about that a little bit.
You know, I've been doing that on and off my whole life, even when I was younger. Of course, you had the old VHS cameras, you know, and they weren't the best, but they were good. They were good back then. And I always just wanted to still use it to look back on the experience, you know. And of course, back then I'm watching, you know, Monster Bucks and all these other, you know, TV shows where these guys are filming, and it looks great. So I started doing it, and had pretty good success with it, you know. But like I said, didn't have the best equipment, and I'm not good at editing at all. So everything was just kind of thrown together. But right now, what's nice about it is I do so many different things. I mean, I hunt so many different animals that I'm able to get good footage of a lot of different things. I mean, for example, this year I'm supposed to get my Michigan bear hunting permit. I'm going to have that all on film, but I film everything from fishing to hunting and whatever I can film. And I know good filming is not just getting a quality kill on camera. It's about your scenery and your pictures and how you're using the camera. And that's what I'm trying to adapt to right now, is getting used to doing all those different aspects of the filming industry. But I tell you what, man, that's the biggest passion of mine. I've been doing it now for a long time. I love talking to the camera. I used to be nervous early before, but now I love it. I thrive on it.
How has filming helped you become a better deer hunter?
Well, for one, whenever you're filming, if you're filming with somebody else, now you got two people in the woods. Now you got twice as much noise. You got twice as much sense. So it teaches you to be a little bit more firm with the things that you do, your approach, your wind direction, your scent control, and other aspects of that matter.
How do you film alone, and do you always have a partner or not?
You know what? No. And last year was a great example of that. Last year I was able to go on almost every hunt, morning and evening. With my job hours, it kind of allows me to do that. But only a small percentage of the time am I able to actually have a cameraman with me. So what I did last year, and I took my camera on 100% of the hunts that I went on. And I would use my climber every time unless I was on the ground. And what I would do is I would shimmy up the tree with my climber, and I would actually strap my tripod onto my climber with me right in front of me on the crossbars right there, like on your gun rest that's on your climber. And it was actually a pretty decent setup, very sturdy, and I got a lot of good footage with it.
Do you hunt mostly archery or muzzleloader or rifle? Tell the listeners what you're hunting with.
I do it all, but you know what? Definitely archery hunting is definitely my passion. Because you got to be up close and personal with the animals. You got to take that hunting skill to the next level when you're bow hunting, especially when it comes to scent control. Like I said, you're going to have your animals and your game that much closer to you to be able to harvest. But I like it all. I like it all. I have yet to kill a deer with my muzzleloader just because our muzzleloader and shotgun seasons are kind of the same here in Michigan, and I got 12 gauge that I'm just in love with, and that thing's just a boomer, and I've been able to harvest a lot of deer with that. So, but bow and gun, man, I love it all.
What type of bow do you shoot?
I got a Matthews SQ2, a little bit older of a model, but I love it. It's smooth, it's quiet, fast, and I don't see a reason to change just yet.
How about your arrows, your rest, your release, and your broadheads?
I've recently, I think 4 years, when I switched to that Rage broadhead, and I like it just because it gives you a little bit of room for error. Now, I know people don't like expandable sometimes if you shoot them in the shoulder, but if you shoot them in the shoulder, we're shooting them in the wrong spot anyways, and there's not very many broadheads that are that forgiving anyways. So I try to make my aiming point actually behind the shoulder, just a touch, just give me that little extra room in case there's a little bit of air there in my shot. But arrows, I've kind of switched on and off. I'm going to go to Black Eagle arrows this year, I think. I'll probably stick with the Rage broadhead unless I got a different sponsor that I need to use otherwise. I'll be using a Booth stabilizer this year, and Trophy Ridge rest. I love those drop away rests. I don't think you get too much better than those at all.
What about your setup in the different places you hunt? Do you hunt on a ground blind, spot and stalk, or tree stand? Well,
you know, I like being able to do it all, but definitely the tree stand is my favorite place to be. It's my favorite setup by far, just because you're above the deer, your sense above the deer, you get away with a little bit more movement, maybe a little bit more noise, and you usually got a little bit better of a view. So definitely being a tree stand is my favorite way to hunt.
How about scent control or sprays, to mitigate your scent?
Oh, man, I am huge on that, Bruce. I make sure, I go the whole 9 yards with this. I do everything from the body wash and shampoos, to the laundry soaps. I use scent away bags. This year I'm going to be using Beat Tree cover scents. But I do it all. I make sure everything's covered up. If I got a cameraman with me, I make sure he's covered up. And, I use, of course, scent lock camo as well. So everything, any little thing that you can do to help your scent control is a little piece of the puzzle that's going to make you a more successful hunter.
Now, do you wear rubber boots?
Absolutely. Rubber boots are all up to the knees, no doubt about it. And there's no adjusting that. That's going to stay the same. I never wear leather into the woods at all.
And why don't you wear leather into the?
Well, your leather boots leave a little bit more of an odor. If you were to smell like wet leather, or a leather jacket, or basically any kind of leather has a certain leather smell to it, that I know those deer can pick up. So the rubber boots are definitely a way to go. And just throw a little spray on there, and sometimes you can wear those scent pads on the bottom of your boots just for that extra little bit, But everything helps. Like I said, it's all a little piece of the puzzle. All those little things are going to contribute to you being a more successful hunter.
What was the best advice you ever got about hunting, and who gave it to you?
I think it's hard to say exactly who gave it to me because most successful hunters use and go by, and that's wind direction. You cannot. It's hard, even covering up with scent lock screws and cover scents and the shampoos and everything that we were just talking about. It's nearly impossible to beat a deer's nose. They're a very, very intelligent animal, and you're not gonna beat their nose most of the time, no matter what you do, and no matter what precautions you take in it. So wind direction, hunting the wind direction is probably by far the the best advice that I ever got when it comes to hunting.
Let's share with the listeners how and why you decided to become a pro staffer at Rob Augustine's Relentless Addiction Outdoors.
Well, I seen what he was doing online. We became friends on Facebook. I seen what he was doing. He has his own outdoor show, and I was like, man, I just want a chance. I don't necessarily want to be the hunter. I just want a chance to prove what I can do behind the camera. And so I actually talked to him about that. I said, I want to be your next cameraman. I don't have the best equipment now, but I'm willing to get it. I'm willing to practice with it, and I think I can get there for you. And just recently I went out and got a new camera that, one of the new ones that we're using. We got the SD cards, the 1080 HDs, and I pretty much use it for everything now. But when I talked to Rob, I was like, I just want that chance. And it was actually probably wasn't for another month or two later that he gave me a call and said, I want you in, and invited me in to be a pro staff. And I was like, yes, that's what I want. That's my passion. That's my dream.
So what does it mean to be a pro staffer? We got some listeners that say, boy, I'd like to be a pro staffer. What do you actually do for Relentless Addiction Outdoors?
Well, for me right now, we just want to get as many sponsors as we can. For me, what I'm trying to bring to the table, since we've already got a network and a TV show, I just want to bring the best footage that I can. And to do that, I gotta be out in the field all the time. I got to be taking my camera and filming everything I can. And like I said, just as recently as this past Saturday, I was out filming a fishing trip. That's not hunting, I know that, but it's still a good outdoor sport. I was able to get excellent footage of it. So any practice that you can get is only going to help you, and that's definitely what I want to bring to Relentless Addiction Outdoors.
You told me they got some muskie and big walleyes. How big were the walleyes?
Oh, man. Christina Bailey was with me, and she's another pro staff member of Relentless Addiction Outdoors, and she caught a whopper. I think this thing had to have been, it was well over 10 pounds. We're guessing it was right there, probably right around 12 pounds. And that was a giant. That was by far the biggest walleye I've ever seen. And the captain of the ship said this one of the biggest ones he's ever seen come out of the lake, and he's been fishing there his whole life. So that says a lot. That was really, truly a trophy walleye.
Now, that's out of Lake Erie, Lake Michigan?
It's just north of Lake Erie. It actually probably connects to it one way or the other, but it actually goes into the Canadian side too. So it's partly in the United States right here on the east side of Michigan, and also part of Canada.
And what about the muskies?
They're really starting to thrive. I know before they didn't think there was a whole lot of them, but they're really starting to thrive in that lake. Usually when we go out on a day's trip, you usually hook into maybe anywhere between 1, 4, maybe 5 of them, and they just get enormous. Those things are just eating machines. I know a few years back on Father's Day, my friend that owns a boat out there, he was out there taking some people out there, and they're actually reeling in a smallmouth. It was probably a smaller smallmouth, and all of a sudden this 40-pound muskie hit it, knocked the smallmouth off the hook, and hooked himself, and they brought in, and it was just a giant of a fish. Almost makes you not want to swim there.
Well, folks, listeners, we took a digress a little bit, but Brian does love the outdoors, and I just got to read something he wrote in his bio. How my passion for the outdoors makes Brian Gibbs different from millions of other outdoor enthusiasts. Well, the dream, the hunt, the pursuit never leaves my mind. And yes, it's always I film. So, Brian, let's talk about and really unpack this for a couple minutes here. Why do you feel that you're going to become one of the best videographers in the outdoors?
It goes back. It just goes back to the effort and who you believe you are. And I just have that feeling, just that instinct that it's one of those things that I know I can do it, and I'm always out there trying to do it. And like I said, when I'm not doing it, I'm thinking about doing it. And that my effort and the passion I have for it is flawless, and I believe it's just second to none. And I know there's a lot of people out there that do their own self-filming. There's all kinds of shows on there right now that people are filming and bring great footage. I want to do it better, and I believe I can. I just got to get the right teachings done and just keep at it. You know, and time will tell, but I definitely believe here, given the chance, that I'm going to take the industry to the top. No doubt about it.
I love your positive attitude. Let's share with the listeners a couple of whitetail tips that you know work and maybe somebody else doesn't. You talked about some suburban bucks. Do you hunt suburban bucks yourself?
Yeah, you know what? Actually I do, but one, you got to get permission, and you got to be in the right cities to be able to do it. Like I said, anywhere south of where I'm at now, I'm in a little town called Waterford, and anywhere south and east of Boston City, Oregon, don't let you hunt. And there's deer everywhere. As I was saying before, we have a deer population in every county in this state. Even down in Macomb and everywhere, we're in Wayne County, where Detroit's at, there's deer everywhere. The populations might not be that high, but there's deer everywhere. When you walk into I used to own a window cleaning company, and I'd be doing a big home in a neighborhood with houses everywhere. And you'd see deer or deer tracks in their backyards, and might not be woods for miles, you know, but there's just deer everywhere. Unfortunately, the only bad thing about this state is I don't really think that we have the quality deer management that we could. A lot of people are meat hunters, and you know they shoot the smaller bucks. So a lot of times if you believe in quality deer management, you let a nice little young 1.5-year-old 6-point walk by. You don't have the amount of property. He'll walk another 100 yards, and someone's going to harvest that animal. So it's kind of give and take in the state, you know. But we're not known for our big bucks unless you're on private property and some of the farmlands, and then you get some bucks, trophy animals out there.
When you're thinking about hunting city deer or suburban deer, how do you get permission to get in somebody's backyard?
One, it's sometimes like they always say, you know, sometimes it's who you know, not what you know. And just for example, I had a little city area here. It was kind of out in the country, but there's still houses around, and I think my customer only had 3 to 5 acres. But like I said, when I had that window cleaning company, I simply just did the job for free. I said, you know what, you work hard. She had a garden out there where she's always working on her garden. She was always complaining that the deer were eating her plants and, you know, everything on the property. I was like, let me hunt. I'll take 1 or 2 animals out of here a year, just control the population a little bit, and I'll give you free service. And just let me do that for 3 years until she moved. And what was great about that property, Bruce, is every year I seen nice bucks, and I seen a lot of young bucks. And there's a couple kicker bucks out there, and just kept letting go. You know, I see them; they'd be a 6-point, then a small 8-point. And the last year I was able to hunt. I was able to harvest one of the animals that's 3.5, 4.5 years old that I let go over the previous years. I got them just in time. That was last year I was able to hunt that property.
Well, timing was right, and they say sometimes timing is everything. Brian, we're at the time of the show that you get the open mic, so you can give a shout-out to Relentless Addiction Outdoors, any other companies, your pro staff, anybody that's sponsoring you, or anybody you want to say, hey, thanks a lot for getting me to where I am today.
You know what? Relentless Addiction Outdoors is a company that's given me a really good chance here to prove myself. So I want to give all the kudos to them. So I really appreciate what Rob's doing, what he's letting me do, and I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity. Now I'm with another young bow hunting team, Bow Adrenaline. And they're just a bunch of good young guys trying to do the same things. They film a lot of their hunts. And that's what they think about all the time. That's all they want to do. You know, and of course we got Be the Tree. Then I'm a field staff. I'm not pro staff. I'm there yet, but I'm a field staff, and they're a product company. They got that Be the Tree cover scent, and I think it works great. I've heard nothing but really good reviews from them, and I want to bring it to the table for them too. But it's Relentless Addiction Outdoors. That I'm really, really fired up about. I can't wait to bring them the footage that they need to make this dream a reality. And I'm ready to bring it. I'm in it 110%, and my effort or passion's not going anywhere. So I'm ready to go.
Brian Gibbs, pro staffer, videographer, outdoors fanatic. I just wish you well, and I'm going to be calling you in about a year or so and just seeing how you're doing it. And one thing, I did send you that email again. There's a gentleman up in Calgary, Canada, that has a company called Hunting Film Tour, Gary Gillette, and I know you guys would get along real well, so reach out to him, tell him I said hello, and I hope you can make a connection there.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to the opportunity.
Listeners, this is Bruce Hutchin wrapping up another show of Whitetail Rendezvous. Keep the sun at your back, the wind in your face, and be patient out there. Make it a fantastic day.
As your host at Whitetail Rendezvous, I want to thank each and every one of you for spending your time with us today. I look forward to sharing with you in the next episode more whitetail hunting tips, techniques, and stories. Until then, keep the sun at your back, the wind in your face, and always be patient.
If you have any tips, comments, or suggestions, or what we can do to improve, because we're here to serve you, let us know. Thanks for listening to Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast at www.whitetailrendezvous.com.